guys, welcome and welcome to There Is Still Hope. Thank you so much for joining me and thank you for tuning in. Well, if this is your first time, I am Dalenga. Dalenga is the founder of There Is Still Hope, and There Is Still Hope is a place where we gather to encourage each other to move away from past sorrows, places of defeat, places of discouragement, and move on and live a life that matters. In a nutshell, we're saying there is still hope, so you just have to get up, dust off, and live a life that matters. If you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe and become part of There Is Still Hope family. Well, I'm back, and I'm back with a new episode. Stay tuned. Well, guys, I'm back with a new episode. Well, we have someone else that I'll be interviewing today. I'm so excited, really. The fact that it's a different gender, it's always ladies. This time around, it's a gentleman, and we give God the glory. And really, Jeffrey, thank you so much for coming, for believing in the vision, and for taking your time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, I want to give this analogy. God is such a good God. He makes everything beautiful in its own time. Think of a seed. A seed is usually buried underneath the ground. There's no beauty to it. It's underground, it's fighting, it's dirt, it's pain, it's trying its best to surface from the ground. So it is with many of our lives. God is a God that brings beauty out of ashes. Like a seed, someone's life can be in the dirt, in struggles, in pain. But when God steps into a situation, that's when the seed starts, breaking out of the ground and reaching for the light. This is what we are talking about today. So today we have someone who's going to tell us his story, of how he used to live before Christ, how he used to think that there is no God, how he used to think that, if there is a God, why is he not showing up for himself? Nonetheless, that's what we're talking about. So if this is anything that interests you, please don't go away. Well, Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining me this morning once again. Thank you so much for taking your time. Kindly introduce yourself.
Okay. Thank you for having me once again. My name is Jeffrey Awoseb, and I am born and bred in Windhoek. I am from Windhoek. I was born in Karadura Hospital, and we grew up in Tamara location, Dolam.
Okay.
So, my life was, a life of debauchery, living in sin. I had no concept of God, or I thought, I didn't really mind or care about God, or I thought He didn't care about me also. So I used to live my life whatever way I want.
Who is Jeffrey? Where are you from? Who raised you? How was growing up for you?
Okay. I was raised by my grandmother. Basically, my mother was a young lady when she gave birth to me. So she was, finding her feet, trying to look for a life for herself. And she was always traveling around, walking in Swakop, walking in Ochivarango, and she left me with my grandmother.
Okay.
It's actually my grandmother's sister, but in our tradition, it's my grandmother also.
Okay.
So I was raised by my grandmother and some aunties. I was predominantly raised by ladies.
Okay.
There were not many father figures in our family.
Okay.
Because my family is very matriarchal.
Okay.
There's a lot of ladies there. I don't know what happened to the men. Maybe the ladies bullied the men out. So I was raised by my grandmother, and it was a tough upbringing.
Okay, were you the only child growing up?
I had a cousin that I lived with. She was now my mother's sister's child.
Okay.
And we were two. We were two when we were living with my grandmother, but her mother also left with us, so that's why she had to leave me with my grandmother. So it wasn't very nice, to be honest. It wasn't very nice, to be honest.
Okay. So you really felt her absence. Tell us about your father.
Okay, my father is a hero guy from Aminus. That's in the Omega region. And I don't know what happened between him and my mother, but after she gave birth to me, she took me away from him.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand. I got to know him for the first 3 years, but then she took me away from him and just raised me in Windhoek, like left me in Windhoek.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't have a relationship with my father. My father, I only got to know him while I was in high school. When I got to high school, I was grade 8 that year. Yeah, then I just saw a man came to our house and I was introduced. This is your father, you know. Yeah, and I was kind of happy about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
did you had a lot of questions to ask?
Yeah, I did have a lot of questions to ask. But you know, my father and them are very traditional guys. You know, I asked him, where have you been all these years? Why haven't you? And he will just say, no, your mother knows, but I'm here now, so let's just continue.
Tell us about the role he played after that.
The role he played was actually very vital because it also shaped me into the man that I am today. He instilled self-reliance in me.
Okay.
Like as a man, you have to be reliant on yourself.
Okay.
Because he's a well-off guy. He's a farmer, and he's well-off, and he does everything for himself. You know, he doesn't depend on people and stuff like that. And so he told me how to be self-reliant.
Okay.
Yeah, and also he told me values. You know, manly values. You know, take care of your family. You know, earn your own income. You know, help where you can help and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Your environment at home, the streets, the situation at home, the fact that you perhaps the only boy child, the abuse at home, the alcohol, you know, and all that. How did that shape you? What are the things that you had to go through because of the status of your environment?
Okay, so my environment actually messed up my mindset back then.
Okay.
Because I thought that as you grow up, you have to go drink alcohol. I didn't know it was a choice that you don't have to partake in. I thought it was something that you have to partake in.
Okay.
Like I thought as you grow up, you have to, like, you know, when you grow up, you have to get married, you have to get your own place, you have to have kids. I thought alcohol was also the same thing.
Okay.
You have to go do it. So that was the wrong mindset that I got because I saw my family abusing alcohol and I thought it was a norm. It's something that you have to do. I didn't know that it's an option. And also the ladies that were around me, my aunties and, you know, my grandmother, they were never in fixed relationships, you know.
Okay.
All the relationships that they were in, even my own mother, it was always temporary. You'll see this gentleman now, and then after some time you see another one. So I thought that relationships are temporary. Yeah, and these are the things that I took on as I grew up. I started abusing alcohol myself. I started having, you know, disposable relationships. Let's just put it that way, disposable relationships, you know, because I didn't know that you should build with someone and you should, you know, because I couldn't even keep a relationship for a year, you know, because I thought if certain months passed, I started causing trouble so that the relationship can end.
Did you also find yourself abusing alcohol when you were growing up?
Yes.
At home?
No. Actually, it started when I was in the hostel. Because when my father came into the picture, he didn't like the living circumstances that I was living in, so he put me in the hostel. Okay. So when I got in the hostel, I gravitated to the wrong crowd. Okay. You know, I started staying with the wrong crowd, and they introduced me to alcohol, and I started drinking. We would jump out of the hostel and go to the clubs and then come back drunk. Some of my friends, because those buildings were double story, some of my friends fell from the windows as they were trying to get back in drunk, broke arms, and luckily I didn't break anything. Okay. Yeah, but we got caught sometimes, and you know, we got beaten. That time the corporal punishment and stuff was normal. Yeah, so I started abusing alcohol in high school while I was in the hostel.
How did you behave with the abuse of alcohol?
Oh no, it wasn't good. I would overdo it anytime that I drank. I would overdo it, and when I overdo it, I would, in my drunken state, I would be promiscuous. I would be violent, and I would just be a pest, you know, a nuisance. And I would never be able to stop on my own. I would only stop when the alcohol ran out or the money finished or I passed out, my body couldn't take it anymore. But for me to say no, 2 beers is enough, it was impossible, because whenever I started drinking, I couldn't stop. I just had to continue drinking.
Was there anyone you would point out growing up that was actually a good example for you, that could even sit down and just say, why are you doing this? Can you stop this?
Yes, I had an uncle and a friend. I had a friend that doesn't drink. So he would tell me, look, Jeffrey, these things that you're doing is not good. Please stop. You are destroying your life, you know, and the friends that you're staying with, you know, you won't get far in life with this type of friends also. And I had an uncle also. One of my aunties got married to a man, and that man was like a very responsible person, man. And he would also sit me down and talk to me and tell me, no, don't do this type of things. This is the results that will happen from this, you know. But back then I was young and rebellious, and I didn't listen. The more people told me not to do something, the more I went to do it. Yeah. So, but people did speak to me over the years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe with this type of life comes money as well. How did you fund this lifestyle?
Okay. So when I finished high school, I was lucky. I got a job immediately in the diamond industry.
Okay.
I was working in the diamond industry. We were polishing diamonds. Yeah. And I moved out of, at that time I was out of school, and I was back in my grandmother's house. So I moved out of my grandmother's house as quickly as possible. When the first check came in, when the first salary came in, I moved out quickly, and I rented a place in Karatura with a bunch of friends. So we would share the rent, you know, we would pull together to pay the rent. But that house was now basically just for us to party and to do all sorts of debauchery. Yeah. And I was like a person that was employed, but I had nothing to show for it, because all my money was spent after I paid the rent. All my money was spent on alcohol. Yeah, so you know that I'm employed, but you couldn't see anything to show that I'm employed. So my life was, it was not good in that state that I was in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. In this whole process of alcohol abuse, drug abuse, where were the women?
Sure. I had multiple girlfriends and I had multiple one-night stands. And to be honest, God really was graceful to me. I had even STDs up to 3 times. And when I went to get an HIV test back then, I got an HIV test and I was found negative. I couldn't believe it. I asked the guys, did you take enough blood? Maybe the blood you took was not enough.
Maybe you took half of it.
Maybe you took half of it. Maybe you need to take more. Because I was convinced, because of the debauchery life that I was living, that I probably had AIDS or something like that. But I didn't have AIDS. I don't have AIDS until today. But I was very promiscuous. I had multiple sexual partners. And I fathered children over the years in different women also. Yeah. And I was not a good partner to have, because I was unfaithful, and for me, I didn't really have respect for women also. Yeah, because the woman that raised me, I don't know, something went wrong there, you know, and I didn't have much respect for females also. And yeah, so I was living a sinful life. I was living a very sinful life. But it was by the grace of God that I didn't get HIV. I didn't, you know, anything that could have gone bad, you know. Yeah, but the children that I've made in this multiple women, today I'm a father for them. Yeah, today I'm married, and I'm with one woman. Yeah,
we'll get there.
Okay.
How was performance at school?
Oh, God really blessed me with a brain. Yeah, I was not the top performer, but I was definitely not at the bottom. Yeah, I was a little bit above average. Yeah. If I was a little bit more disciplined, I would have performed much better, but I passed, you know, I passed. I never failed at any term, any grade. I passed, and the teachers also knew that I am smart, and they would talk to me and say, Jeffrey, you are smart enough, you can get somewhere, you understand? Please just, you know, focus and be disciplined and stop with these things that you're doing so that you can do better, you understand? You are passing, but you can do better, you know. So yeah, I finished high school. I even went on to university, but I left university in half. I think I only did the first 2 years, and then I left it. Yeah,
why did you leave?
Drinking, partying, and also drugs also got involved. Yeah, because later as the years progressed, I got into drugs also. Yeah, so I couldn't focus now anymore. Yeah.
What are the emotions that you carried after the childhood?
I felt always less worthy, because the lady that raised me, also my grandmother, she would always say things to me like, you know, you have a big head, a flat nose, you are very ugly, you know. And when I would grow up and young ladies would say, oh, you are so attractive, you are so cute, I thought they were joking. I was like, what? Because this is not
what you are used to.
What I'm used to. So I would, just to feel worthy, you know, sleep with a lot of females.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I felt less. Yeah, and I left
my low self-esteem.
I had a very low self-esteem, and that low self-esteem caused me to have a lot of insecurities also. Yeah. I was a very insecure person, very quick-tempered, you know, quick to lose my temper.
Did you fight?
Yes, especially when I was drinking, I would get into fights, you know. Yeah, most of them I lost also.
Okay. Did you ever find yourself maybe in jail?
Yes. Yes, especially when the drugs got involved there. Okay. Then the stealing and the robbing and all these funny things came into, because drugs make you desperate. Yeah. Yeah. For you to get the next fix, you become desperate. So I would steal people's cell phones. I would rob taxis. You know, I became someone that I could not even recognize. You know, I was a very problematic person. Most especially here in Ochumise, where I'm staying currently. When I lost my flat in Pioneers Park and lost everything, and I had to move back to Ochumise, it got worse here. Okay. Here I was committing a lot of crime so that I can just support my habit. And every week, almost every week, I would be in jail. Either I robbed somebody, I robbed a taxi, I stole someone's cell phone. But luckily, many of these cases didn't stick. You know, they were always thrown out, and I would always be released. Okay. But there was one time that I spent like 2 weeks, and my family was very happy that I was in jail for 2 weeks, because now they can sleep at night. Now they can rest. There's no one coming home to terrorize them. Yeah. The only person that was upset and in pain was my wife. You know, she wanted her husband home. That time she was not my wife, she was my girlfriend that time. Okay. But she stood by me. She was the only one that would bring me food at jail. She was the only one that would call up people to get bail money. Yeah. And she, out of her efforts, she managed to bail me. Yeah, she called up a couple of people that we know, and they sent her the money, and I got bail.
She's a good wife.
Yeah, she's a very good wife.
You actually mentioned that at some point you were living in Pioneers Park with the lifestyle that you just explained. Tell us, how did you get there? Okay,
so at some point I quit drinking, and I quit all the nonsense that I was busy with.
Okay, how did you do that?
I joined a group called AA.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
Yeah. So they helped me stay sober. Yeah. So when I joined this group, I had a hiatus, a brief period of sobriety. Okay. So in this brief period of sobriety,
did you do it while in the community, or did you go to some rehabilitation centers?
No, while in the community.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is just a program where you come every certain day, like every Tuesday, maybe 5 o'clock. You guys meet up, and you know, you talk about your issues, and you know, it helped me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was able to stay sober for a couple of years. I think 3 years or so. Okay. 3 to 4 years. And in that time, I resigned from my job as in the diamond industry. I started my own business, and my business, thank God, was flourishing. Okay. Yeah, I was doing well. You know, I had a consultancy business, a cleaning business. Okay. And financially, I was doing well. Okay. Yeah, so I had a flat in Pioneers Park. I had everything that I needed. I drove nice cars. You know, I was doing well. Okay. Yeah, but at some point, things started falling apart when it was around the time of COVID. Okay. Yeah, the business was not doing so well. I think there was an economic slump or something. Yeah. That time, 2018 around there, and the business started struggling, and the debts were high, and the income was very low, and I didn't know how to cope. Since I was not a praying person, since I didn't believe in God, I didn't know how to cope. So I went back to the thing that brought me comfort, which was alcohol. And while using alcohol, somebody introduced me to drugs. Yeah, and then this took me to a whole new level now. Yeah.
And this whole time you were still with your girlfriend?
Yeah, I was still with my girlfriend.
Tell us, how did you afflict her in the process?
Goodness.
And how did she take it?
My goodness. My wife, which was my girlfriend back then, she even lost weight because people were even advising her to leave me because I was causing hell for her life. I would come home drunk and under the influence of drugs, and then I would come steal things from our flat to go sell. And if she tried to stop me, I would fight with her. And this was done in front of my children. They were still young at that time, and they were so scared and terrified and traumatized by the things that I was doing, because that's not the father that they knew. Yeah. So when they opened their eyes, this father was now a monster. Yeah. And even my own mother advised my wife to leave me. Because she said, my son is a monster. He's horrible. Don't live your life with this guy. He will just destroy you. Find someone else. Get away from this guy. But my wife, because she loved me so much, she said, no, I'm going to stick with him. Yeah.
She's brave.
Yeah. That's why when I got sober and I became born again, I married her immediately. Yeah. Because I realized she is worth her weight in gold. Yeah. God has really blessed me with a good wife.
She really is.
Yeah.
She really is.
Yeah.
Were you abusive in the process?
Yes. I was very abusive in the process. Because remember, when I would come home to take something to go sell so that I can support my habit, she would try to stop me. So I would have to, assault her or something like that, you understand? Which was not something that I'm proud of, but it was in that state of insanity that I was doing that, you understand? Yeah, so I was abusive.
Well, guys, this is the life Jeffrey lived before he met the Lord Jesus Christ. We look into the life. What happened after that? How did he become sober again? And how did he become the Jeffrey that he is today? Because today we're looking at the man of God. Stay tuned. Every believer has a turning point. We have a before and then we have an after meeting the Lord Jesus Christ. Sometimes it's messy, like how you explained it, but here we are about to actually see how God turned everything around for your good. Because of his grace, because of his mercy. When he shows up, we forget the pain.
Yes.
We forget the struggles. He does it so well, heals so well, to the point of all you have is a story. Like you said, your mess is a story. Your mess is a message to someone today. Tell us, how did you meet the Lord Jesus Christ? What were you going through? What are the emotions you carry in the time? What made you to surrender and say, you know what? It's yes to the Lord.
Thank you for that question. That is actually the part that I was waiting for. That is the best part. I met the Lord Jesus Christ at the lowest point of my life. I made peace with my drug addiction. I accepted myself that this is my portion now. I'm a drug addict that is in and out of jail. I am I was at the point I would go sleep in the riverbeds now. Yeah, I was at that point. And I made peace with it. I was like, okay, this isn't my portion. This is my life now.
I'm a mess.
I'm a mess. Because I went back and immediately after I was dropped off, I went to the drug house. Immediately. And I bought myself some drugs. I put it on and I was about to smoke. So I smoked. And I was like waiting for the effect. Nothing. I said, man, probably a bad batch, because it happens sometimes. Sometimes you get a bad batch. I said, okay, this drug house is a bad batch. I'm gonna go to the next location. I went to Komasdal. Same thing. Nothing. I bought, I smoked, nothing.